Are you continually pretending to be someone that you're not, just so other people will accept you? I know that is something I did for many, many years. And the problem is, as we continue to do that, we chip away at our true self. And after a while, we forget who we are supposed to be ourselves. So stick with me, because this week I want to continue the conversation that we've been having about building up who it is that you believe you are, and to help you to be able to think and behave differently. Hi, this is Grant Herbert, VUCA Leadership and Sustainable Performance Coach. And today I want to continue our conversation around building your identity by helping you to remove the mask. For most of my life, I wore a mask pretending to be who I thought others needed me to be so that I could avoid those three universal fears. The fear of not belonging, the fear of not being enough, and the fear of not being loved. Through things that had happened in my past and what I'd made that mean about me, I was continually trying not to be rejected. The problem is, though, when we are focusing on what we don't want, we tend to walk towards it, and our behavior, because it comes up out of our subconscious conditioning, takes us directly down that path anyway. Last week, we talked about the fact that our identity is who we believe we are. It's not what we do. It's not your job. It's not your career, your title. It's deeper than that. It's the DNA that you want to project to the world. It's not only who you believe you are, it's who you believe you're not. Put all these things together. The conditioning that you have up until this point, the beliefs that you have about yourself, about others, about the world, means that you can, like me, get trapped in these behaviors like the performance trap. Others call it an approval addiction. And then there's imposter syndrome, and it goes by many names. But when we bring it down to the lowest common denominator, what it's all about is behaving and being in a way that we feel we need to thrive and survive in this thing called life. The problem is, by me doing that, pretending to be who I needed to be, stepping up, looking confident even though I wasn't, all these things, it was to get external approval. What we talked about last week is the fact that that's something that we're never needing to outsource to others. It's up to you to decide who you are in a confident way, knowing that I'm still teachable. There's still a lot that I need to learn. I'm on a journey of imperfection, but I'm okay when I look in the mirror and metaphorically like what I see. So how is it that we get to remove this mask? Well, we're going to get to that. And I want to help you to do the things that I've learned to do and that I've helped thousands of other people to do, to be able to get rid of that thing, to be able to be who you are. But before we do that, I want to give you a reason why. You see, most of us are doing okay. So unless we've got a reason why we would make these changes or do things differently, we're not going to do it. So you were created for a purpose. You have gifts, you have talents, and collectively we need those authentic gifts and talents to be put together in the collective so that the world can do what it needs to do. Now, I know that's a grandiose, high picture view, and it's from my belief, but I want you to look at it through that lens. You see, when you are not being you, two things happen. One, you're giving to the world in whatever way you are operating a false sense of who you are. So a lot of those gifts and talents are hidden. They're not being used because you are pretending and you are pleasing others. The second thing, and this was a big one for me, it's exhausting trying to be someone that you're not, and even remembering who it is that you thought you needed to be with the person that you're with from the last time you were with them. It takes a lot out of you. And that energy could be used to be who you need to be to get what it is that you want out of life. So how do we do this? The first thing we need to do is understand the performance trap. The performance trap is when you perform to get approval. There's nothing wrong with performing. I'm performing right now. But when the ulterior motive is so that people like you, they make you feel like you belong, they accept you, you don't always get that. You can get out there and do the best performance you could possibly do, and there'll be some people that don't think it's good enough. And I know that you would have situations where you would remember that that had happened. So by performing to get that approval, you've got the risk of not getting it. Now, whether you get that approval or not, then will either, if you get it, build up who you believe you are, make you feel more worthy and confident, or erode that identity even further. And therefore, the foundation from which you are in everything that you do is eroded. That authenticity, those true gifts and talents, they still remain hidden. So what we need to do is flip this around. We need to start at identity, and that's what we're doing this month. We're talking about building up your own identity, taking responsibility for doing that, not outsourcing that to anyone else. You know, Eleanor Roosevelt said it so well, what other people think of you is none of your business. And I say that not in an arrogant way, but in a confident way, to go, I like people and I want them to like me, but if they don't, that's okay. I'm going to be who it is that I am authentically. So by doing that, instead of looking for approval, what we now do is get to the position of self-approval. This is where you start approving of you. The foundational relationship for every other relationship in our life is the one that we have with ourselves. So how do we do that? We look for evidence of we can rather than we can't. We look at times in our life when we've succeeded, when we have felt proud of ourselves, when we've felt loved, and whatever it is that you're wanting to replace by pretending to be someone else. And that evidence is there for you to be able to dispute that negative when it comes up. By positive affirmation, by getting you around people who actually build you up, not tear you down. By ruminating on beliefs about yourself which are positive rather than the negative ones. By getting in control of that internal dialogue, and by behaving differently so that new neural pathways are formed through neuroplasticity. And the pleasure circuits in your brain are fired because the results you're getting are different. And the brain says, let's keep doing that. So then your identity is formed and you approve of yourself. And now what you do is perform out of a position of self-approval. When we do that, when you do that, you're going to give the best of yourself. You're going to give the real, authentic self. You're going to take off the mask and never put it back on, because you're going to be okay with being who it is that you truly are. When you get to that position, when you're able to operate in everything that you do on a daily basis from an authentic space, when imposter syndrome, people pleasing, approval addiction, all those things are in your rearview mirror. You're able to be who it is that you need to be to get what it is that you want to get out of life. And more importantly, to give. The greatest gift that you can give to the people around you is your authentic self. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. This is one of the greatest challenges for me, and also it is the biggest blessing that I've been able to overcome. And I'd love to help you to do the same. Well, that's it from me for this week. Join me again next week when we continue this conversation where I go a little bit deeper on some of those things that we do to build that identity up. I'll see you then.